Hi, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Water Commissioners meeting of January 29th, 2024 at 7 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order and announce that the meeting is on Zoom and will be uploaded to YouTube thereafter. We'll read the statement. On March 29th, 2023, Governor Healy signed into law a supplemental budget bill which, among other things, extends the temporary provision pertaining to open meeting law to March 31st, 2025. Specifically, this further extension allows public bodies to continue holding meetings remotely without a quorum of the public body physically present at a meeting location, and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. The language does not make any substantive changes to the open meeting law other than extending the expiration date of the temporary provision regarding remote meetings from March 31st, 2023 to March 31st, 2025. I'd like to call roll call of the members. Todd Melanson, Chair, present.
Nathan Medela, Vice Chair, present.
Dave?
Dave Vishon, Superintendent, present.
Could I have the Board of Selectmen liaison announce himself, please?
Chad Sexton Duranian, liaison.
Thank you very much. I have no chairman's additions or deletions. Nate, did you get a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting?
I did. I only have a problem with 1.4, which isn't quite exactly the way I remember it all going down, but I think the substance is still factual, so I think we're good there. And then just flipping through screens here. And then the other the word presentation's missing, but I think it's fine. So I move that we accept the meeting minutes of January 3rd, 2024.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Medela, aye.
Motion's made and carried and approved unanimously. Review public correspondence. I really didn't see anything. So we will go to 2.1.
Who are not coming tonight.
So we can table that until our next meeting. 3.1, discuss and review changes to the rules and regs. One of the things I saw on that, Dave, that I would want to change in addition to any other changes you made was on the payment plan portion.
Which line?
Hold on, I'll get to it.
Excuse me.
So it was the guidelines. It's on 3.1. It's at the very end, guidelines for.
We'll get to that one after the rules and regs.
Okay, I thought it was part of the rules and regs. Sorry.
Yep, that's the guidelines for hearings, basically.
Yep.
So who highlighted all this?
Those are the changes.
When were these changes made?
He's proposing them now, I believe.
Well, one of
Okay.
it was last meeting, you asked me to make a couple changes on things, and
Okay.
when you change one section, you have to make everything reflect to that.
Right. Yeah. So really, we missed Chaz last week because he was supposed to report on what the town administrator may or may have not had found. And really, it would be prudent for us to find out what we have before we dive into this. So really, I would have liked to see.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, Nate.
Last meeting we had tabled an update from the liaison if there were any documents that had been recovered at this date. So, like I had said in previous meetings, I have a lot of stuff from my prior years on the board paper copies. Now it's a lot of stuff. Like I got 2 full boxes of things. I'm not going to go after that until, this could be very simple. We could simply find what we're looking for digitally that can be easily combed through rather than going through and spending man hours going through physical paperwork. Now, I wanted to get that sorted out and then look at all this, any changes you'd like to see, Dave, Todd, and the ones that we've mentioned before, in addition to what may or may not be missing. But we need to know. And if my answer from the board or the TA in the IT department is we have nothing, then I can get to work.
Well, I can guarantee you the town will not have anything in their IT because they don't have the same IT.
So I'll ask let me ask the Board of Selectmen liaison if they were if he has any updates in regards to did they find any records that we have or were so everything is missing or we don't have copies of.
The only records that I was aware of are records that were dropped off by the former superintendent at some point. That was well before I was on the board.
Right.
We don't know where they are. They're certainly not in town hall anywhere.
Did you talk to Eric about this?
Mm-hmm.
Or did he fill you in about Eric and myself, our conversation that we had?
Well, if you had a conversation with him, no, he didn't fill me in on anything.
Yeah, I also followed it up with an email too. So I'll send Eric another email and make sure this is getting done. And I think you had left early the meeting we had our last meeting, so we didn't get to ask you. But no, I didn't know this was going to be a surprise. All right,
Nate,
I'll send another email.
One recommendation: if you do send an email,
Yeah.
CC Chaz on it.
Yeah, just
That
copy
way-
me on it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, no, I absolutely will. I actually found it really hard to find Eric's email address. I had to use the public form on the website.
Uh-oh.
Is it?
So I didn't actually get to open up my email and add people. It just sent it to him.
Do you have his email?
I don't know that I do.
All right, because I can send you his email. Why don't I do that?
Okay. All right. Perfect.
All righty.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for that. So you have some stuff that the superintendent dropped off. I think if anybody had missed our discussion prior to this, we're talking about the stuff that had been taken by the IT and the previous town administrator from the 540 Main Street location. Both digital and physical paperwork were removed.
So we'll table this again to the next meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes,
would
sir.
you have any problems if I talk to Nate in regards to this issue offline?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Awesome.
Right, just so you know, these are going to be the updates for the rules and regs that were passed in the summer of 2001.
I'm sorry, Dave. What do you think?
2021.
2021.
I was like, okay,
My
Yeah.
fault.
there's got to be an update since then, I hope.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
no kidding.
Well,
So
no, these have been looked at in a while. They were looked at, I think, the last year I had been on. I don't remember what year that was. And then there was either 2 years I wasn't present. So maybe something had been done then.
Yeah, I
Right,
think we did update them to kind of modernize them and catch up with some different things.
Okay.
But so we can. Doesn't mean we can't update. Doesn't mean we can't update them again. As long as they don't.
Rules. I just kind of help me out here. Rules and regulations meaning what? Your in-house water department rules and regulations.
Yes.
Correct.
My thoughts were rules, regs, policies, procedures, and any other governing document of, general policy.
Well, policies and
For
procedures
property.
are only handled by the town, not by the water department. Rules and
Um,
regs.
Yeah.
Rules and regs are
That's where we
separate.
may disagree until I'm shown, that's out of my scope.
right, but personal policies
then I
are only in the
respectfully
scope
disagree.
of the union
Please
negotiation.
don't talk. Let one person finish
So-
before you speak again. Don't overtalk everyone. What I will say is the rules and regs that are on here apply to and conform with all of the state rules, laws in pertaining to the operation of a water system, having to do with service connections, meters, access to the premises, shutting off water. Like section 6, that they allow you a little bit of latitude to create certain sections. So like section 6 is about frozen water services. There are the water rate sections in there, water billing, discontinuance of water, and all that sort of stuff is what's in here on this. The policies and stuff like that, I'll wait and see what you find. But I'll be honest with you, Nate, in talking with the, you can call, there's a help number. It's either the Inspector General or the AG's has a division of local services. So I gave him a call. Where we lost any sort of standing over personnel is when the union got involved, because when they joined a union, that the negotiating body for the town is both the town administrator and the who acts as the agent of the Board of Selectmen. So if you want to give them a call and maybe talk to them as well about that section or about that in regards to personal policies and stuff, because a lot of that gets entailed in the union negotiations, and it kind of
Right,
got taken.
We've
Which that
been
happened-
told that we're going to be a part of
So,
in some capacity.
so
So
I didn't
that
hear-
would
I
take
didn't-
care of that.
I didn't hear what Nate said. What did you say, Nate?
Oh, I said we were told. I think there's been multiple times we've been told, yes, we should be a part of that, and yes, it's going to happen. But I've not seen any action. So is there something our board needs to do, or maybe be a bit more vocal?
Part of what?
the union
The
negotiations
negotiation.
to have a seat at the table.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily going to be everything. It wouldn't be appropriate, right? But in the end of it, our residents that have elected us want us to run the water department or have a water department, and I think they're going to want to see what certain aspects and values reflected in that. So that should be in the negotiations for what we are looking for.
But the negotiations are with the town because of the union and not with the Board of Commissioners. Now I can talk with Eric in regards to that. I mean, I know that there's a lot of outstanding questions that I have in regards to what is assumed to be policy and what is really policy. And that's what I would like to get to the bottom of. But as far as employees are concerned, employees is a direct responsibility of the bargaining that the Board of Selectmen are the ones that, are at the bargaining table. I mean, if the Board of
I'm
Selectmen,
sorry, Chaz. I might be using the wrong terminology, but I might not be getting my point out clear enough.
no, it's crystal clear. And what I'm trying to say to you is that if we wanted to bring someone else onto the bargaining table, that would be a Board of Selectmen decision on whether or not to allow a water commissioner to be on as part of the bargaining. I mean, I'm not saying that you can. I'm just saying that it needs to be approved. Because the
Right.
TA
So
is
what-
the one.
Has
The
the
TA is
board made any steps to do that?
Say that again, Nate.
Has the board even discussed that? I know we've discussed it multiple times, but has your board ever discussed that?
Well, we had already had the bargaining. I mean, we've already gone through bargaining, haven't we, Dave? Isn't that all done?
As far as I know, I'm not part of the process.
Yeah, there's nothing that's on the table right now. I don't think with the water.
I think that they're just ready to vote. I believe, but I'm not part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So negotiations are no longer taking place.
It's been brought to my attention as a selectman that this is what has been agreed upon, and we're just waiting for signatures, which I thought we did a couple weeks ago or a couple of meetings ago, so it could be a month ago.
So job descriptions were updated when we created new positions. I don't think that there's anything else. So when I'm saying policy and procedure, perhaps more so it's job description in the new facility and how the operation is going to run. I wasn't privy to a lot of that stuff when perhaps a couple of years ago when you guys did it. I wanted to make sure and do my due diligence that everything was across all of our documents, our policies, procedures, personnel, and job descriptions, everything matches up. And I think it would be doing the town a disservice if we didn't make sure that that was all in order.
The job descriptions were done with the selectmen. They signed off on them.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know, but I think we created those in the previous
For the
board.
treatment plant.
For the when
I just want to do my due diligence and make sure everything is on the up and up.
So the other part of it too is a lot of those job descriptions, Nate, especially with the treatment plant, they're built off of what the state gives you of what you're supposed to describe them as, what your staffing levels are supposed to be, and things like that. So I would say,
I understand. We did that before, but there's always room for personalization of that to fit your department.
When you're talking about an operation of a treatment plant, you don't get that much wiggle room, to be honest with you. You can, depending on the tier level of the treatment plant, potentially, but once you start getting into, Dave, ours is going to be what, a T2?
We don't know yet because of they haven't told me yet. We were at one point either way.
No, I know. So you add this certain things you check off, Nate, or the state does, DEP, on what you have, how often it runs, what your volume is, what chemicals you're using.
I'm fine. I'm not worried about telling their job to confine within the state mandates and to keep their licenses. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Are you talking about personnel issues?
No, not specifically. No. Most personnel issues we wouldn't speak to because that would be it's not our purview, right?
Right.
From what I'm told. Yeah. So that's not what I'm. So that's why I said I think you're misunderstanding me, and it's not your fault. I don't think I'm explaining it correctly.
So I guess the one I would have a question is when you mentioned job descriptions and stuff like that.
I never got to see the stuff when it was formed, but I just want to make sure everything is falling in line with. We have multiple sets of documents, and some people say, "Oh, well, you don't touch this, and this is for this." I want to make sure everything is in line with each other. There's no contradictory sections or anything.
That one I can answer you. About a year and a half, we went through all that as part of setting up the treatment plant, and we did the job descriptions. The selectmen signed off on them.
Right. We didn't do it. It was you guys did the job descriptions and then sent it over to us. We reviewed it. We had town council review it to make sure that they were legal and,
it couldn't have been a year and a half ago because I would have been on the board.
No, because it was before Nate was on the board. It was
I think this had to have been more than 2 years ago.
Yeah. It was all part of the process of, again, the treatment plant together.
Yeah. So it was when I first got on the board. So that was about 3 years ago.
So I think it was even before. So it was me, Chris,
Mike,
and Mike. I don't know if Mike had left yet though, because there was a time and period where
he was on that one.
He was on
Okay.
that one.
So it was me, Mike, and
I'm
Chris.
sorry, guys. It just be patient with me. I'm just gonna start going through those boxes I have, and I'm gonna cross-reference what I see here and the old documents. I really want to make sure
All right.
Right, that's when we
Everything's
put the
gonna
new
work
chief
what
treatment
we're
plant
getting.
operator as one of the positions, and a water distribution foreman,
Yes.
and those are spelled out.
Okay.
So,
All right,
go ahead, Nate.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I
Nothing to be
wanted
sorry about.
the reason why I haven't gone through this is because I was waiting to see what was in the town hall. But it sounds to me like there's probably going to be nothing, or it's not going to be recoverable. But I was really hoping not. I was trying to be efficient.
Right.
Nope, I understand that.
So
Would you
Convent-
mind if we checked on the guidelines for leak relief or a disputed bill for a second?
Yeah, but just before we move on from this has nothing to do with any kind of policy. These are strictly the rules and regs of operating the system. And if you want to put this to bed till next meeting, then please do.
I'd like to read this.
All right. Nate, if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out.
I'd like. So this is what's been proposed. I'd like to see an old and a new.
If you want to, the new is online. And if you look up the water department, and you can see the copy online. It's on the website under rules and regs.
Wait, the one we haven't voted on is already online?
No, the one that from 2021 is
Okay.
online.
I understand. Okay. All right. Yeah. If it's not a problem, I think we should table this. I don't want to have this. This should take a couple meetings, not 4.
Right, but this is mainly to address the changes that you asked me to make.
Yes, I have not had a chance to read these and make sure it's what we were talking about.
Right.
All right.
That's why you see a few little changes in a couple of them. It's just to be reflective of every bit of the laws reflect that we talked about. And so you can vote on tabling this then till the next meeting.
Well, I don't think we have to vote on it. We just table it.
Right.
So we will table this. The only part of 3.1 I just wanted to look at, and if I could make a recommendation on point 8 of it.
Yeah.
Payment plans cannot exceed 2 years. Failure to comply with the plan will require the department to post a lien on the property. We don't really outline what a failure to comply with is, and that is to make consistent with the payment of the plan while remaining current on the any new charges is what I would like to see.
Right.
Put in there.
Right.
So I just want to see that
You
reflected.
said 3 point.
All the rule and reg was under 3.1. If you go to the very last page of it, Nate, there's a guidelines for leak relief or a disputed bill.
So failure to comply with the payment plan and
We just
Keeping
need
up
to
with the current
identify what failure means. And I would say failure to comply with the payment plan means staying current with the payment plan and the current bills.
correct.
And then go to which would require the water department to post a lien on the property or something to that effect. Feel free to edit my English however you wish, so long as that's reflected.
Okay.
Now, if we're going to look at this part, the guidelines for leak relief, I have a question.
Yes.
Sure.
And Dave, I think you might be able to answer this or collaboratively. Define good standing. Account must be in good standing at the time of dispute.
Basically, you're not 2 years behind on your bill.
What if you're
Or-
a day behind?
A day behind is still in good standing. It's the ones that are 2 and 3 payments behind.
For me,
So,
if I
well,
if
that
I
needs to be delineated.
yeah, if I could interject, it's not that they're because they may what for me where good standing is not is someone that hasn't been delinquent previously or beyond a certain number
Or
because
on
an
lien.
account or been put on lien before because that they've already shown in um, this is and the other thing too is I would say especially for the leak portion um, that that this is a one and done because you could have um, usually when people have a large leak and we have given them relief, they become very cognizant of the fact that how much water can actually leak, and they become very diligent. But I just want to make sure we know that this is a one and done. You get one act of uh, good faith on our part to give leak relief, but that we can't keep doing it continuously. So that would be the other thing I would add in there, that any leak relief agreed upon by the parties should be a one-time event only.
So, really, putting this sort of thing in writing is kind of iffy because this is our board. This is the Todd Melanson, Nathan Madela decision of this current board. You know, and different board may see other. You know, they may say, "Oh, we're not going to do it that way." The only reason I would say don't even have this is because you have the word guidelines there. Guidelines
Guidelines
for
means it's just a guideline.
yes, exactly. That's the only saving grace. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to see any of this because it's really the decision of the board. And yes, this board has set a precedent, and we're doing that. We're doing what we, the one-time thing. But are we getting into weird territory by putting it in text and saying it's a guideline? I don't know.
No, I see what you're saying, but I don't mind it being in writing because then we can be held consistent. That's why I wanted the couple of changes.
Okay.
Another board can vote to change it, Nate.
Right.
But at least this will allow us something because right now we've been saying, this has been our, I guess, unwritten policy on it, or in what we have, like you said, we set the precedent of doing it. I just rather it be in writing so we don't get into, say we agree to go past the 2 year for one of them or what have you. Not that we would, but other people could come back and say, well, you're playing favorites and stuff. If our guidelines are in writing, then no one can come
Right.
back later. Do you know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Really, a lot of these cases that I've seen, some are similar, but some of them are kind of like, hey, this is not like the other. And I see you'd be worried about people saying, oh, well, you did that. But really, this is an elected position. If we're not doing our job the way people like it, we're not going to get elected again.
Right. But here's some of the things like on here. You know that when we that they had a break between the house and the barn? Do you know in the
Yes.
rules and regs that is an illegal connection?
Because it has
We discussed that.
Yeah.
No, right, but there's a line, and that rule went way back that those aren't allowed. So we
Yeah,
gave a
but
break.
that bit, I understand what you're saying, Dave, but also that building probably pre-existed any rule and
Right.
regs. So I would say any new development would need I agree with what you're saying. It's the standard practice in the industry that every separate building, I mean, even if you look going into like strip balls and stuff, each section technically is supposed to have its own backflow and its own meter system so that each individual component is metered. And going between buildings and stuff is disallowed, I guess, for the lack of a better term, because you do get because there's no way to really check on the safety of the water going from one building to the other, because like the gentleman said, he doesn't have a backflow on that building, I think, if I remember correctly. So I understand that part of it, but that specific instance, yes, if he was building it today, he'd have to have separate lines. But I think this building predates probably most of us being born, to be honest with you. So that I don't know. I just take that as a bad example. So
Right.
why don't we table this? Give Nate a good chance to go over it, and we will bring this whole section back at the next meeting. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes. Sounds great to me.
All right. Now let's go to let's see. I do not have any 4.1 commissioners updates and reports. I do not have any. Nate?
No updates.
Okay. 5.1 liaison update and reports. Mr. Dirks, do you have anything?
I don't.
Okay. Let's see. We'll go to 6.1 superintendent's updates and reports. 6.1 update and discuss PFAS harbor trace treatment plant. And while we're on that, I'm going to say, Dave, I appreciate the post on Facebook about the treatment plant and the progress of it, and on the town website. So thank you for that.
There was a lot of likes on that.
But
The picture looks fantastic.
I drove around it the other day. Kind of impressed with how fast it's going up. It'll be good to see the filters in there, to be honest with you. But
3 weeks.
I'm stealing your thunder. It's your report. Go with it,
Yeah.
sir.
So that, just so you know, that's 3 weeks. And I waved at Nate when he drove by in his van the other day.
I was on the phone. I would have stopped and said hi, but
Yeah. So, okay. So the filters have been moved up. They're not moved back. So they're coming a week early. So 3 weeks from tomorrow. Everything is on schedule or ahead. They're going to be hooking up the heat tomorrow, and the plumbers will be in there on Wednesday to hook up all the plumbing inside the building, and the electricians will be next week. And so they're going to be wiring the whole building. The facial block will be at the end of the month around the whole entire building. So all the finished block and the windows and doors will be coming soon after. So, but that's as far as I want to go, because as we go along, there'll be more in-depth updates.
Dave,
So-
can I ask
Awesome.
a quick question
Yeah.
on the filters? Whose filters are they? Are they Calgon's?
Calgon.
Thank you.
Yep. So they're coming in 4 trucks overnight because they can't move them during the day.
wow.
They're big.
They're
Big.
27 by 12 feet around.
Yeah, so they're 27 feet tall by 12 feet in diameter.
If you let me know ahead of time when you think they might be coming, I might be able to get some video of them rolling the trucks in if you want.
Yeah,
That would be cool,
when
Nate.
when they craning them in the top of the building.
I would like.
They're going to
keep
drop them
there.
tonight and then crane them in, right? They're going to do that during the day.
Yeah, so the
But-
trucks are coming in at night, and because they can't, they have to. They're kind of wide and they're huge, and so by the time in the morning when the crane's there, they're gonna just take them right off the truck and put them in place.
Okay.
Nate,
Okay.
if you can get video, that would be outstanding.
I absolutely can. I got a pretty good 4K camera. And if I know and I'm available, I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I'll
Thank
keep
you.
you guys in the know as soon as I get details. So the next thing to be after the treatment plant is the lead service line inventory, which is kind of complicated, which as a result of Flint, Michigan, 5 or 6 years ago, every town in this country has to do a lead service inventory, which the drafts are due on April 1st.
No, well,
The drafts are due on
that's a
April 1st.
request. That's a request.
Right.
It's not a requirement by DEP. What the
But-
requirement is October is to have it into EPA.
October 24th is
Yep.
they have to have it in, and we'll be on schedule because we 3 years ago there was a conscious effort of making the meter exchange program and the lead service inventory program one and the same. So we take pictures of the services every time we change a meter, and we're up to 824 meters, or right at 40%.
So, do you have any so that if you ever wanted to follow this,
1,200 so far that we have left.
no, I know. Well, let me finish, please, sir. What I was going to say, Nate, if you wanted to follow along with it, this has to do with what they call the lead and copper rule revision, and then they just have proposed the lead and copper rule improvement. The two are going to kind of overlap. So Dave and I were at a Mass Waterworks meeting. They have the same meeting every year where both EPA and DEP give out their regulatory updates for the year, what they expect to pass or be proposed or put into the regulation. So that one was a fairly in-depth one. Some of the rules are kind of tough. This one's the most important one to get done first. And Dave's done the right thing, I would say, by combining the meter exchange, because you need to get in and see what's coming out of the wall that connects to the meter. And that usually determines what's at the service line and stuff. So it's, thank you for that, Dave.
You know, we have this well in control. We'll be in better shape than most towns when we're done.
Mhm.
So I just
Yeah,
want to make you aware of it, that this is happening. Also for PFAS, one of the things they mentioned, sewage treatment plants, and they also mentioned testing of landfills.
Did you get the landfill on? Do you know if the Townsend landfill is on the priority list?
I have no idea. We don't get that, but all landfills are going to have to get tested for PFAS.
No, I know they are, but they were focusing. I think they listed 68
think-
that were. I think it was 60. You know
I
what
was
I can
told
do?
there wasn't a landfill in Townsend.
There is up on. Oh, geez.
Yeah, I remember seeing one as a kid, but when I said something about it, they said, "Oh, there's no landfill."
It's between Mason Road and Greenville Road.
There's
Yeah,
a testing.
yeah,
The town pays
I know.
for it.
So it will have
Well-
to get it's all landfills are going to have to get tested, I believe, in 2026. The PFAS rules apply to them after that point.
They have to get the method approved first, because the method isn't approved yet
Right.
to test it. Dave, what I'll do is I'll reach out to Bureau of Wayside. I got a couple connections there. I'll see if that one is on the list of the priority ones. I don't
Right.
know if it is.
I just wanted to bring a heads up to
Yep.
just to bring it up so nobody's surprised and caught
Mhm.
and caught with their
It's-
pants down later on.
Yep.
Yeah, the White House gave a lot of money to that. It was 11 months ago. They had the lead pipe summit. I was just watching that. There's like almost $15 billion. Is that right?
So they committed to the Federal Infrastructure Act. They committed. There's a lot of money in there for both. The four biggest things are PFAS treatment of drinking water, the removals of lead service, the whole lead service line issue, the removal of what they call combined sewer overflows, where the stormwater system and the wastewater system are tied together. There's a lot of money in there to separate those two. And then the fourth was modernization of wastewater treatment plants. And then the fifth was actual water main replacements, primarily older ones. But but yeah, you're right. There's a lot of money in there, but one of the new rule changes actually took money away from Massachusetts. I think they lost like 40% of the money that was being slated for lead service line replacement, and they've actually gone back at EPA trying to get that money back. So,
And just so you know, for the towns around us, Lunenburg got funded for their treatment plant. Pepple did not get funded for their treatment plant.
correct.
Air did not get funded for the treatment plant. Groton got money for water lines for PFOS, and Fitchburg did not get funded.
So I don't know why.
Lucky.
I don't know why Pepperell didn't score higher. It had to be in the way they wrote it, to be honest with you.
I can tell you exactly why. There was a fight between them and Groton because they were fighting over the same part of Groton,
Yeah,
and
the
there
high
was
school.
overlapping. There was overlapping projects.
So and then I know Lunenburg got theirs and stuff like that. It was a very competitive. It's gonna be. I mean, that's one of the better things about doing the testing we did and being proactive is we got ahead of the line, so we're not in the middle of the battles that are gonna. There are a lot of communities that are like battling to get, especially the PFAS funds and
And we
stuff
did
like
get
that. So
the rest of our money was
Yeah.
allocated to us. So we're up
I
to
saw
$20
that.
million that is completely funded.
So, and then, Dave, did we get a final number on the principal forgiveness yet?
No,
Okay.
there was another for the housing one. They upped it another 3%.
All right.
Instead of,
Do you know when? Do you know when? It probably won't be until we go to do repayment.
It
after
won't
the
be
project.
until we go for repayment.
Yeah,
But
that's what I
it
thought.
may be more than the 58% that we were talking about.
All right.
Because
Well,
out of the SRF, up the, not the low income housing, I'm trying to remember the term. It's.
Don't worry about it.
Huh?
you're pulling a Todd. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Um,
So we got another 3%
Affordable housing.
on the housing. Because
Yeah.
we're a tier 2 community on disadvantaged communities.
all right.
They upped the disadvantaged communities for PFOS.
All right.
So that
Is
that
that-
is no longer at 13.3%. That is now at 16.5%.
All right. It'd be nice to see that
That's
final
because
number.
they took out the normally they go by the county, and if you add the county, our Middlesex County has Cambridge in it, and it kind of screws up our numbers. So they just took the community's numbers. So they just took Townsend's average median income and that kind of stuff, as opposed to taking the average for the county. That's why we hit really well with that.
Right.
All right.
We're doing better. That one was announced, and we were doing better.
Yep.
So, but we've made out very well with the state on this.
Well,
And
that's because we jumped on it. You guys jumped on it, and congratulations, because this is why we're getting things done the way we need to get done, because we were in there right from the get-go.
Yeah, any of the communities that hesitated, I think, are feeling the effects of it, because now, especially with the new federal regs coming on at the the 4 part per trillion for PFOA and 4 part per trillion for PFOS. I don't know a community that let's put it this way, there are very few communities that are not going to see numbers that low, and so they're going to, I think the stampede has just started for that sort of funding.
with the
All right, Dave.
with the treatment plant, we will not exceed any of it in any well.
No, the other part of it, Dave, though, is it is gonna affect the length or the lifespan of the media, but we'll see where that ends up. We won't know until we start operating it. So
That's right. But Main Street is our main well, and we're going to be running that because it is exceptional water quality.
Yep. All right, Dave. Was did you combine the two of them, or do you have any other reports?
Hold on. Sorry. Gate exerciser we're picking up on Monday. I'm leaving on a road trip to Georgia on Sunday night to go pick it up. Backhoe's going. Well, I'll find out tomorrow but it's ready. The
Okay.
truck's being built.
I
The
thought.
railings. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nate. Go ahead, Nate.
Oh, I signed off on his mileage sheet. I thought he already went and picked it up.
No, they're gonna
What's going on here?
they're gonna give me that after I come back.
This is how proactive he is, Nate.
Yeah, he was.
So the truck's being built. The railing was finished on the tank, so we are now in compliance.
Okay.
Our tank is fully in compliance. We're waiting on SCADA for the upgrades, and as soon as the weather breaks, we'll have the survey done on Lindbergh Road for the tank.
Dave, I saw on one of your updates too. When will they resume the paving and then finish up some of the paving, some of the road work that was already done?
Right. So all of South Harbor Road to Ash Street is done. All of Ash Street is done for all paving. They'll be doing more water line in March as soon as the snow lets them.
Yeah.
And they're going to grind the patches they did. They have to wait at least 3 months, which
Yep.
they're going to grind them and do a permanent patch.
Or
For-
you
for
mean a
what's left.
permanent layer, not a patch? They're gonna do
We're
a
not paving the
permanent.
whole road,
No, but you're gonna do one side, not just over the patch itself, right?
only doing the patch.
Okay. All right.
Can I say something about those patches?
Yep.
I should have said something under updates and reports, but I forgot. Someone did. They weren't really complaining, but they mentioned. They said, "Oh, those patches are terrible." And I drove down. I'm sure weather had something to do with it. We had multiple rainstorms since, but if there's any way they can do a superior patch to make it pretty much seamless, I'd really like to see that. So if there's any way we can get on them about like doing
That's
the best job they can. I remember hearing a selectman stand up one time and saying they need to go back and redo this, and that was something I didn't necessarily agree with that individual, but I really agreed. It struck me with what he said. They basically made him go and do it again,
So when
and it was
they
done right. And he said that's what Townsend deserves.
I can answer that one. So when they grind the patch, they're going to grind a foot on either side of that, and they're going to put a permanent patch that is finished.
and it won't be like it is now where it looks like they put a bunch here and then a bunch here. When they do the grind, like you said, on either side, it's almost like you've paved inside the road, so it will be seamless, like you said, Nate. And you couldn't have been more right with
Okay.
the weather. We're anybody that's experienced.
No, I know
main
how it
breaks
is.
situation, the water gets in there now. It's going from hot to cold, the warm to cold, and the water gets inside there, and it basically pops that stuff
yeah.
right out. So, all right,
So,
Dave, thank you
Going
for
back
that.
to the paving.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Harbor Trace Road will be done with the building sometime this summer,
Okay.
and that is from side to side.
In Chaz, the town is doing Cooperage at the same time or later in the year?
I think they're doing it at the same time.
Okay.
They're trying to
makes
time it
sense.
so it's all done at the same time so that we don't have to dig it up 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, would be preferential. All right. Dave, anything else? Or are you done?
Oh, we're good.
All right. 7.1, schedule the next Board of Selectmen meeting. The 12th still good for everybody?
Yeah.
That is still good for me, so we will schedule it for the 12th. Review abatement and adjustment list.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that we review monthly abatements and adjustment lists and review and approve end of month bills receivable, reports and payable warrants out of session.
Second. And it seems like Todd is contagious. Motion is made in a second. Roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Medela, aye. Just for clarity, the motion was specific to
7.2 and 7.3.
7.2, 7.3. Exactly, yes.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me.
Motion's made in second and passed. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn the Water Commissioners meeting.
I second that. Roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Medela, aye.
The meeting has been adjourned on January 29th at 7:51.